already. You've done it 1,000 times. 1,001, 1,002. Just, for God's sakes, just give up on it. And they just can't.
Yeah, they really can't break the mold. They really can't break the playbook. They can't step away from it. I don't know really where you go from here. You know, I thought in terms of like how our sensibilities change when it comes to pop culture, what we consume, like the TV shows. There are certain TV shows that kind of stand the test of time because of the writing, whatever, characters. I love the maybe Seinfeld, a lot of them, these kind of things. And then there are others that just don't. And it's because our sensibilities. But you could go like stand-up comedy. You know, the whole Take My Wife, Please. All right. For a lot of us who kind of grew up exposed to that, it's kind of nostalgic and we'll still laugh.
Yeah.
But we kind of moved on to Brian Regan, Bill Burr, Dave Chappelle, whatever. And I think one of the things that the left used to be actually pretty good is changing the sensibilities of their faith. But the sensibilities of their faith have gone so far because the party is about what? Boiling the frog slowly, you move the agenda item in one day at a time, your attention, everything looks fine, and then all of a sudden we are full on agenda. And the party is embracing it. The riots during the summer, a couple summers ago, just on the police, the liberal transgender movement, all of these things, and you have to include spending. Spending is not new to Democrats, not new to Republicans, but Democrats have always outspent Republicans. And when they got into COVID, oh my gosh, we've got an open checkbook here. So all these things ramped up, I think, really quite possible. It was a kind of a shock to the system going, whoa, what happened? We saw the polls where people can look at, all right, spending led to the inflation. You guys gave us a bunch of money, but now we're paying all that back and more through inflation. And we can't sustain this. And this is, I think, I don't know if it's temporary. I don't believe it's short-lived to the point where it is over after this election cycle. There are things that will change if inflation levels out at any point. But that's not going to happen unless we go through a recession. And the point is that regardless of how things happen, even without COVID, our sensibilities always change. But I think they really changed, and we kind of came out of it like walking outside for the first time in 2.5 years, going, whoa, what just happened? What's going on? And I think part of that also is technology, which is in everybody's hand now, every day, almost around the clock, and they can do their own fact checking. And I think reality sometimes it's a female dog. It hits hard, and politically when it hits, it's bad. And you can't live in the abstract anymore. And why is that? Because everybody right now is going, yeah, but the reality is I'm paying $5 for a carton of eggs. Reality is I'm trying to figure out how my family is going to afford Twitter. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to put gas in my car. I'm trying to figure out what my second or third job is going to be. All of these realities tower over everything else. And the left, as always, they're not offering a solution. Because you can't offer anything in the abstract anymore. Well,
when you look at the Democrats and on spending, they've been quite consistent over what they've wanted over the last 4 years. But when you look at things like crime, if the Democrats went to the point of talking about crime in the same book, for example, for drug possession, we don't need to be putting people in jail. That's something that you could have gotten the people who okay, you're not a drug trafficker, but what's reasonable here? Right. You know, what's a reasonable position to hold? Remember, you know, Biden was the one. The crime bill was sponsored by Biden, or was he? Or I can't remember. Back in '94, but he was. The Democrats were all behind the crime bill.
Yeah, right.
Back then.
Yeah.
Now they may have been, you know, so they were for punishing criminals who do things, and you know they weren't talking about, you know, no cash bail. They weren't talking about letting people out that were violent. You know, you didn't hear things like this that was talked about. They talked about gun control and punishing the criminals.
Yeah.
Right? That's what they talked about,
Yeah.
and that was 30 years ago. You know, 30 to 40 years ago. That's what they're talking about. On the border, the Democrats, until just 4, 5, 6 years ago, even though they would say one thing and do another, they were still publicly stating that we truly need to secure the border.
Yeah.
But you take those two issues, you know, for example, in New York right now, one of Hochul's problems is a murder that happened in Buffalo, New York, where this guy got out of jail in 24 hours, crashed into his wife's car, and then execution style, you know, murdered her. And the mother is saying, you know, they blames, you know, the mother, and this is a black family. You know, and so the imagery of this, because the whole point is, what we're trying to do is, we feel that all these things that we're doing right now are not giving equal treatment to blacks. But then what you're seeing is more and more now, the victims of what the left wants to do, the victims are black. And they're saying this just isn't reasonable. And on the border, there isn't a Democrat who isn't a border city Democrat that has come out and said what we're doing on the border is absolutely insane. Not one. Maybe in a debate one of them did and changed their position from a month ago. They may have to update that. I didn't see it. And so you see these things that happening, and then hopefully, you know, the whole thing about crime increasing is just is a fantasy. You know, it's a conspiracy theory that Republicans have come up with. Are you kidding me? 56% of Americans, I saw CNN, 56% of Americans say crime is worse than it was a year ago where they lived. You and I've asked the question, who that for? Yeah, no, yeah, tear that down. Tear it down, city. Do that inside those, do that about it. And so you look at it and you say, no, it's insane, the things that they're promoting. And then when you look at the energy, you know, as we've talked about before, we've called it insane for the longest time, and we have had to push back over the years. Not anymore. But, you know, going back, well, no, we need to take a plan. The important numbers about the Keynesian economy, as liberal as you can get, the Clinton Treasury Secretary, the lead economist for the Obama administration, come out and give the energy policy is sort of insane. Then you realize that we're not just being partisan and saying, oh, whatever they're against, we're for, or whatever therefore we're against. No, that's not what's going on here. It's that the policies that they are implementing or wish to implement are insane. Why do we say they're insane? Because we believe that when you elect a representative to promote and defend your best interest, and they do the opposite, and that political party still has significant control, and is still